Over to yourself.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this property apprenticeships session taking place during this National Apprenticeship Week. Today, we're going to explore what it means to be a property apprentice within the Valuation Office Agency and wider across government. So, if property is the career for you, then this is the place to be to find out more. My name's Gareth Wakefield. I'm the Property Profession Capability Team Leader in the VOA, and I work in Claire Johnson's team. Claire's also the GPP Senior Sponsorship for Apprenticeships. That's the government property profession. And I'm pleased to be able to introduce a range of speakers today from the VOA and also from GPP I'm located. And I'm delighted that we'll be hearing from some of our current and former apprentices as well. Some of you asked about the recording in the chat already. Becky's doing the recording for us today and we'll be uploading it afterwards. For people to access, and we can email out to those who have attended with information on that. So firstly, I'll tell you a little bit about the VOA and the work of team, and then introduce Tony Cheetham, who's in the same team as me, our property profession project lead, who'll tell you a little bit about his career as a chartered surveyor. He'll move on to talk about our wider careers in surveying and the apprenticeship route, and we're advertising this week on Civil Service Jobs our level 3 and level 6 BSc surveying apprenticeships. Level 6 MSc roles will be advertised later in the autumn. More on this later. Jess Hauer from the development team's joining us and we'll give an overview on our application process with some hints and tips. So, introduction to us in the Valuation Office Agency. We're an executive agency of HMRC and we'll merge fully into HMRC in April, forming the Valuation Office Group. We're the public sector's property valuation experts and advisors, and we employ around about 4,000 people, just under, and we're the largest employer of chartered surveyors in the UK. Our workforce covers a range of professions as well: operational delivery, analysis, finance, policy, IT and HR. Our work at the VOA matters. It underpins more than tens of billions of pounds in taxation, over 60 billion pounds in non-domestic business rates and council tax. And what we do touches every citizen and business across England and Wales on a constant basis. That's over 26 million homes and 2 million businesses. And in DVS, we provide a range of property and valuation services across England, Scotland and Wales. We help public bodies manage their property assets, and we ensure that citizens and businesses are paid the right amount of compensation should they be impacted by public infrastructure projects. And we also provide valuations for property taxation matters. We're huge advocates of offering apprenticeships to our existing staff and new recruits, and these offer the chance for individuals to gain a fully funded qualification and earn while they learn. They're a great way for us as an employer to reward and develop talent. It's a pleasure to be here to talk to people who are interested in our apprenticeships and some of the people doing our apprenticeships. So the property profession team, which Tony and I sit in, is part of the Valuation Practice and Standards Directorate, and we offer a wide range of specialist and technical services supporting operational teams across government for all property types, including inheritance, capital gains tax. We're the appeal valuation service for local authorities for right to buys. And within the team, we've got specialists who help value doctor surgeries, work for highways, compulsory purchase stuff, and asset valuations for central departments. VPS, Valuation Practice and Standards teams support these complex cases, technical training, upper tribunal work, and my immediate team organise and facilitate the CPD learning across the agency. So I'd like to introduce Tony Cheetham, who's our property profession project lead, who's going to take you through a little bit more about our apprenticeships.
Thank you very much, Gareth. Brilliant. So yeah, very nice to be with you today, and thank you very much for having me. I think Yeah, there we go. My career journey, fantastic. So I'm going to speak very, very briefly about my career journey. But ultimately, just listening to Gareth, then it makes me realise what an interesting, varied career that I have had, because virtually most of the things that he's talked about, I've been able to touch and work with. So I spent 15 years in the valuation office agency when I first started my career, and then I pivoted into academia before I came back again a couple of years ago. And one thing that I really liked about the valuation office was the fact that although it's a single organization, you can undertake lots of different roles within it. So, for example, just to build on some of the things that Gareth has mentioned, in my formative years, I was involved in working with the health teams, with transport, doing compulsory purchase. I got involved with defence and looking at asset valuations and project planning. I did a fair amount of work on rating, and we have rating revaluations periodically. And back in those days, we did rating lists every 5 years. So I was compiling and maintaining and defending in those days, making sure we got the valuations right, so that people paid the right amount of tax. And it was really interesting. So I got involved in all different classes of property, not just the bulk classes, which we call, which are the shops, offices, industrials, and so on. I found a bit of a niche with sewage work, so I wouldn't recommend for everybody, but it worked for me. And then get involved in lots of interesting bits across the country. I spent my early years in North Wales, and then I worked back into England. I'm based in Sheffield now. I'm sitting here at a bank of open plan desks, surrounded by people who are past and present degree apprentices, which is fantastic, and also coming to the level 3, which I'm going to talk about. So when I pivoted my career, I went to work at university, where I became head of the subject area for built environment at Sheffield Hallam. And that's what's really important to me, because there I was able to be involved in the development of apprenticeships. So I have a role with the university and with the higher education sector, and also with the professional bodies, particularly the RICS, Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. And that really helped me in terms of seeing and working with people from all different backgrounds to make sure that we could develop courses and products and work with employers, which is where I find myself back here now in the VO. So ultimately, what I do now, as Gareth has said, is I work cross government, and my most important thing is looking after the surveying, sort of the pipeline in terms of attracting and selecting, developing, and making sure that people's careers are the best they can be. So, and a part of that, I really enjoy working cross government and with Becky, who you've gonna met and will meet again later. So let's move on and talk about surveying in the VO. So, as it says on the slide, surveying in the VO is basically the heart of what we do. Um, so what we need to do is make sure we're developing the profession within the agency, and make sure we have the skills with the to undertake the wide range of roles that we need to do that's fundamental to our business. In doing so, we have roughly 6,000 people working for the valuation office at the moment, and at least 750 to 800 of those are chartered surveyors. We have 400 plus people on development programs at the VO, learning to become chartered surveyors, and this consists of 2 stages, which we'll talk about: our level 3 opportunities and our level 6 opportunities. These programs are made up of diverse talent. Simple as that. We've developed it in such a way to provide opportunities for people irrespective of educational or social backgrounds, and this hopefully you'll find that you're interested in our surveying opportunities and they're right for you. So let's move on. Oh, there you go. Nice slide. I'll go back one. Fantastic. So, okay, I've got some notes which I'm going to crib from, but to make sure I've got all the key points in. But there we go. The VOA has been involved in development of surveying apprentices since Trailblazer apprentices were launched, and we've seen many colleagues become chartered surveyors through this route. When I was in my early career and we started this, I remember a colleague who was in an administrative role in the office that I was working in, and they came all the way through, and they spent some time doing their level 3, and then decided that was enough for a few years, and they wanted to work in that role, and then they progressed and became the level 6 apprenticeship and became a chartered surveyor. So I've mentioned, and Gareth's already mentioned, that Claire Johnson is the cross-government senior sponsor for apprenticeships. So we're pretty well placed within the government, and we're very proud to be the leading employer of surveying apprentices in England. We offer two distinct levels of apprentices, as I've mentioned, for both surveyors and surveying technicians and surveyors, and we work with partner universities and educational bodies to administer the schemes. And one of my roles is with the RICS is making sure that our universities are properly prepared and employer ready and working really well as the industry develops. So I accredit universities for the RICS. So there's opportunities for us and there's opportunities for you, and you can become a apprentice irrespective of where you are in terms of your academic journey. So we will have our level three surveying technician apprentices, and there we are looking at having GCSEs, and then we also have our level 6 where we are looking at A levels, and they can be two forms. We have a BSc um, level 6 surveying apprenticeship, and we also have an MSc for those people who already hold a degree. So there's apprentices available to all, and we have all people from all ages engaged on apprenticeship programs in the VO, basically from age 17 to 60. Okay, as things stand at the moment. So let's move on. So let's think about our diversity data. So I won't read out these figures, but I'm going to talk to them. So as we've said, apprentices are key to attracting new people into our workforce and to making sure that we represent the wider community and serve the wider profession. So our apprentices allow employers to attract early talent through school leavers and people who are considering a career change later in life. They provide opportunities to attract a much broader demographic than traditional graduate entry. So, for example, as it says on the slide, I'm going to read a bit. 41% of our caseworkers are female, 33% of our graduates, our apprentices and graduates are female. What's interesting that we're on a journey with our in terms of the diversity. So 15% of surveying caseworkers are from an ethnic minority background, and in the England and Wales as a whole, if you look at the government statistics, about 18% of our population which we serve are from ethnic minority backgrounds. So we're getting there, but we're not quite there yet. But we want to make sure that everybody, irrespective of their social background, their cultural background, can participate and be the best they can be and work with us. So, and it says here 23% of our apprentices and graduates are from a excuse me, from an ethnic minority background. When you compare that to the property industry benchmark, it's interesting because so the property profession, if you look at the subset of RICS members, then you can see the stats for yourself. We are leading the way here, and we want to make sure that everybody can be included. One thing we're particularly active as also, as I mentioned previously, is with social mobility. So I am, and many of my colleagues are what's called STRIDE mentees, or mentors, sorry. So we are there to help and nurture and support people who are underrepresented, because evidence shows that people with less privileged backgrounds who complete an apprenticeship get a bigger boost in their earnings than other learners, and they're also more likely to complete their course on time. So therefore, social mobility is an important focus for us in 2026, and apprentices will continue, of course, to form part of our strategy to achieve this. Okay, thank you. Let's move on. So why would you want to join an apprenticeship program in government? Well, if you enjoy an apprenticeship program in government, you'll be working with some of the best surveyors in the country who will support and advise you as you work your way through the program. It's not just about building your technical skills, though, as vital as these are, and trust me, they are. It's as much about developing the people skills that surveyors require in the course of their day-to-day work, because the one thing I really like about our profession, and it sounds a bit trite, but it is a people profession. Yes, we need the underlying technical skills. The profession is going through a huge digital journey at the moment, incorporating obviously AI, but looking at all sorts of different other metrics and ways to facilitate and support and improve what we do, and we do it pretty well. And so ultimately, we're going to give you the best skills and training that we possibly can. We work with key education providers mentioned, and like anything in life, the more you put in, the more you get out. One thing that you will need is commitment and dedication. But it's challenging, but you'll have plenty of support to help you in your career ahead. And that is really worthwhile. I want you to, if you do nothing else from this call, I would like you to leave this with an I can do this and I will enjoy it and see what opportunities are for me. So, because honestly, it's a great profession and you are welcome in it. Okay, let's move on, because now I'm going to hand you back to Gareth. So you may wish to take a screenshot of this slide. I'm sure we can find other ways of getting it to you. So these are our contact details, and back to Gareth, who will then introduce Becky. Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed, Tony. And we're now here from Becky Spencer, who introduced us at the beginning. She's from the wider government property profession, and then later we'll hear from some of our current surveying apprentices. And I should say a big thank you to Ryan Young, who's part of the same team as Tony and me, who's helping with the facilitation and display of the slides today. So, Becky, I'll hand it over to you, please.
Brilliant, Gareth. Thank you so much. I'll just wait until the slides are on the screen there. So yes, as Gareth says, I am from the property profession team, which sits within Cabinet Office. So for all, I sit in a different department to Gareth and his team. We actually work across government. So I've said this before, I always feel as if I'm part of Gareth's team, so that there's no boundaries of kind of, oh, we can't kind of work together because we're from different departments. I absolutely feel part of this team, and I'm always welcomed in, and I'm always excited to speak at these events. So if we could go next slide, please. Perfect. So just to tell you a little bit more about the government property profession. So within the property profession, we have around 7,000 members. And of that 7,000 members, we have just under 500 apprentices, which makes up kind of just under 7% of our headcount are apprentices. And of that, 82% work within the valuation profession. So our biggest customer, if you like, is the valuation office agency. They have the majority stake of our apprentices, and they have a fantastic scheme that has been running for many years and has been honed and is really, really a good program to be part of. So if we could go next slide, please. So just to kind of put the nearly 500 apprentices in a perspective. So on the screen there, you can see FM, which is facilities management, also surveying. So we do have lots of different apprenticeship opportunities that are available. Today, we're here to talk about surveying, but there are other parts of the property profession that we do have available. We also, as I said before, we span across the full government. So any government department that has a property apprentice, we are linked in with. So as you can see on screen, just examples. So Government Property Agency, DWP, Department for Education, Homes England, Department for Transport, and many, many more. We span boundaries of which department you're in. We are very much a community. As I say, we're focusing today on surveying because we're talking with the Valuation Office Agency. So we, as Gareth had mentioned before, there's the level 3 surveying technician and also the level 6 BSc and MSc that we have available. Next slide, please. So with regards to the apprentices that we have, we quite often get the questions, what will I be doing? So there's no set answer to that. We have lots of different people doing lots of different things and lots of different estates. So it could be that you're going to be modernising buildings that are already existing, such as schools and prisons and offices. It could be that you're getting involved in the new government hub programmes, which is building new buildings, as Tony had mentioned before, that are fit for purpose. They take into account sustainable practices, working towards net zero. It could be maintenance and disposal, so the buildings that we have, making sure that they're livable, usable, and are serving the practice that we need them to do. Or it could be indeed for disposals, where kind of selling off those buildings to bring money back into government. So there's lots of different aspects and areas that our apprentices can get involved with. So it's not just one thing, and it's really hard to kind of pinpoint and say, if you go to X department, just say for instance HMRC, you're only going to be doing this. That's absolutely not the case. It's very varied in the responsibilities and experiences and opportunities that you will have. Next slide, please, Ryan. So then this slide is with regards to the team that I currently sit on. So that is the government property profession team. So I suppose just to put it into the very simplistic terms, the team that I sit on, we ensure that we have the people in place with the skills that they need to do the jobs that we need to deliver the property estate that we have. And that's very far reaching. As I just said before, it can range from prisons, schools, it could be property that's outside of the UK. You could be working with foreign and Commonwealth, or somebody might have to correct me on the right name, but you could be working abroad, looking after historic or military bases. We make sure on the team that I'm on that everyone is equipped with the right skills and opportunities to learn that they need to have to flourish within their career. So on the team that I'm on, we have HR specialists, we have pay specialists, we have accreditation specialists, we have fast stream, and for those who aren't in civil service already, so fast stream is an elevated graduate program that we have, and I myself, I am the apprenticeship lead. So we have lots of different opportunities for you to be able to come into the property profession if you're not already doing that, and we will support you along the way. So as I'll not go through them all, but as you can see on the screen there, we offer, so APC is Assessment of Professional Competence, which our RICS candidates will sit to get their accreditation. We can help and support you with that. We can also we offer on the screen there, you see with the people sitting, the government property career framework. Within these slides, it will be linked, and it's on the next slide. Actually, Ryan, would you mind just going to the next slide? Is that okay? So when you click within that document, we've got mapped out like career and your development opportunities that are there. So say for instance, if you look in the foundation practitioner column, so just for the people who are on the call that aren't already civil servants, so the civil service grades AA, AO, EO, and then they go up kind of in seniority as we go across that field. But you can see how if you do a particular qualification, that can track and you can progress on within your career. It is a big document, I won't lie to you. The link is there. If you go into that, and if you have any questions, I'll pop an email in the chat in just a second. You can certainly reach out and have a discussion. That's absolutely fine. But we try to provide as much information and help and advice to you guys as is possible to make sure that you have the right skills that you need to complete your apprenticeship and the activities that you're involved with. If we could go next slide, please, Ryan. So then I mentioned before in the chat with regards to the government property community portal. So anyone who is part of the government property community, you can register to get access to this. It has to be with your .gov email address, or like your work email address. But within there, we have lots of different areas of kind of information, guidance, and also news. So we have news, we have events, we have learning and development, we have guidance, forums, jobs and careers. So for anyone who is within the property profession, you can join up. There's lots of information shared in there. Really, really valuable resource. When these slides are shared, the link is there. If you're a civil servant and you're not already a member, you can reach out to become a member. Ryan, if you could go next slide, please. Perfect. So then, as well as the portal that we've just seen there, we have a weekly bulletin, and that's pulled together by our communications team, and that just keeps us updated on different things that are kind of happening within the world of property. It could be kind of news stories that are within the actual news. It could be developments that are coming up. It could be celebrating projects that have completed or hit milestones. We also have the apprenticeship spotlight. So that is something that myself and one of our Propel members publish. I'll explain Propel in just a second, but we like to shine a light on the apprentices that we have. So we have a very light-hearted article where we get to know our apprentices, and the apprentices who are featured get an automatic invite to the government property awards, which happens in September. That's an invite only event, so really good opportunity to get in there and network with senior leaders. Really fantastic. We also highlight all of the events and learning that are currently going on. If you could go next slide, please, Ryan. Perfect. So then within the accreditation and development side of the portal, we have lots of links there. When you get these slides, you can click into the links. We've got further information on the Government Property Community Forum, which we were just looking at. And then we have a direct link to the jobs and careers that we advertise. On my team, we have some members who pull that information together. So it will be current. So you will be able to access those. So that if you could go next slide, please, Ryan. Perfect. So then I will pop that email address in the chat. So that is the email address of the team that I'm on. I've already shared my individual email address within the chat there. The slides and the recording will be shared. If you're not already a civil servant, if you could send me an email, because I won't have your email address. If you've seen the flyers at the outreach via like the job fairs, I won't have your email address. So if you could ping me an email on my personal one, which is higher up in the chat, then I can ensure that you get the slides and the recording of this call. But I suppose just to kind of summarize, the team that I'm on, we are certainly here to supplement the amazing work that Gareth and team do at VOA, and you will be well looked after if you come into VOA as an apprentice. Absolutely.
Thanks very much, Becky.
Amazing, thank you.
Now we're going to hear a little bit from some of our property apprentices. I'm going to play you a short video with some of the people on our survey and development programs, and then we'll chat to some people on the call. So this is the bit where I hope the technology works with the sound. Please do so if you can hear this and see okay.
Got it, Gareth, yeah.
We can value all sorts of property classes for the public sector. It can be for sort of things like disposal purposes or for rating, non-domestic rating purposes.
Typical range of work for me is undertaking challenges for non-domestic rating, specifically offices. It involves talking to agents day to day, coming to decisions and taking them to the next steps.
So for myself, a typical range of work is considering casework submitted by external property professionals and considering whether we need to review how much they're paying for their business rates.
The main work I've been doing is working on inheritance tax cases, so valuing domestic property for inheritance tax.
So the inspections that have been really interesting to me include visiting a residential property that had rising damp and had some structural defects apparent in the building.
My favourite inspection was when I accompanied my supervisor on an inspection of the viewing platform with the Shard. I'm not very good with heights, but I did really enjoy that and I couldn't turn that opportunity down.
I would say I find inspections the most interesting when you get to meet people. It really helps you get a sense of how the local economy is doing, the impacts that the decisions we make have on their lives.
I enjoyed visiting the types of properties that you wouldn't get to go to normally. So one inspection I did was on a disused bank, where we were able to go down and look in the bank vaults, which was really interesting and not something you see every day.
They look really spooky down there.
Yeah.
Under the District Valuer Services, I had an inheritance tax inspection that was of a large property in Surrey with a huge amount of land. And then once I got to the property, it was a vast amount of animals, land, all kinds of different factors taken into account. So that was a really interesting valuation to undertake.
I've been involved with the school's outreach project where I assisted with a measurement exercise, and I also explained what the level 6 apprenticeship was like.
And giving feedback on presentations that the students had prepared.
I really enjoyed when we did the interview panels as well. They really were surprised about how well they could do and really appreciated the feedback. It was a really rewarding experience for all of us, I think, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
That I'm from Croydon myself, and it was good to engage with them and show them what we do and give them a pathway to a potential career. So it was good to get them involved with the valuation exercise, with comparing properties and looking at different property types.
The best support I've noticed is when you work directly with people in the office. The VOA offers opportunities for you to work with specialised and lead valuers, so you gain a large range of experience.
During my apprenticeship, I got a lot of support from my APC counsellor and supervisor, also from just regular colleagues. And that's the one thing I found in the VOA is that everyone will help if you ask them. I've worked for the VOA for a number of years. My youngest child reached school age and I was looking for a career challenge. I didn't want to leave the VOA because it's very flexible and very family friendly. So I was looking for another way to develop my career, and the level 6 apprenticeship came up.
I chose to work at the Valuation Office Agency because of the APC pathway and the development towards getting your APC accreditation and chartership with the RICS. So the support's fantastic, the people are great, and the whole programme seemed really suitable to my future growth as a chartered surveyor.
Yeah, I agree. I think the support here is unmatched, completely different to what you'd get in the outside world. There's a structure here, a pathway that they follow, and it leads to great success rates as well.
My top tips for anyone joining the VOA: be like a sponge, take in everything that you can. People are giving out lots of information all the time and it will become invaluable to you.
Stay organised, but also don't be afraid to seek support. You know, if there's any pressure points, assignments that need doing, they can adapt your workload accordingly.
Do your research and speak to other people to see what experience they've had.
Ask questions, get involved, try and do as much of a variety as you can because that's the best way you can learn.
You're in control of your APC and your pathway, so you've got to go out there, look for that experience, but also you've got a wide range of experience from other people that you can draw on. So use those people as a baseboard to get to that relevant experience that you need.
My top tip is not to let age put you off. When I started the apprenticeship, I had a young family. It does fit in with family life. You do have to learn how to manage your time, but it's enabled me to develop my career, and now I'm a professional chartered surveyor.
So hearing there from a few people who've been through our VOA development programmes, we're joined now by some people who've been doing our apprenticeship or have completed it in recent years. And Mabs, you completed your apprenticeship a couple of years ago, and Michaela there, who was on the video, she was actually worked as your supervisor. How was it working with her?
Yeah, I think it was amazing. Michaela was so supportive. She was really organized as well. So she exactly knew the experience to kind of support me with, the cases to give me. I went out on site with her. We inspected so many properties together. And yeah, it was great. She was really good supporting me past my APC.
So since you passed your APC, you've developed your career further. What role are you doing now?
So at the moment, I'm a team leader in the National Valuation Unit. So now I have my own team of surveyors that are also on the development path. So I've got graduates and apprentices and also newly qualified SEOs. So it's been quite rewarding kind of having to give back to the team as well.
Thank you. So what did you find helped you with your apprenticeship? How did you find juggling the study and working?
So as an apprentice, we had a 1 day study day. So every week, I had a day off, where I would be consolidating all my kind of studies. So we had UCM, which had online seminars. So I used to kind of use that day to consolidate all my learning. So that was quite useful. And also people in the offices, they were really supportive. So any questions you had with your assignments, experience you required, you could always go to anyone, and there was support system literally everywhere. So that was really useful.
Now, you'll have seen quite a few properties in your time. Michaela mentioned going to the Shard. Any particular ones that stick out for you?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I valued a industrial estate in Chatham Dockyard. So that was quite interesting because the value of that was kind of reliant based on the actual kind of the rivers going into the estate. So if the gate to the property was broken, it would affect the property. So that was quite useful. I was able to kind of inspect that and value as well. So it's quite good.
Thanks so much. So moving on to Bree now. Bree, you're coming up to be sitting your APC soon. How have you found the apprenticeship, and what kind of work are you doing at the moment towards it?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the learning on the job and the apprenticeship overall. At the moment, I'm currently supporting council tax, so basically completing valuations relating to houses, people challenging their council tax bans, and anything related to kind of residential council tax valuation at the minute. So, yeah.
Something very much obviously in the news. You've got involved in some outreach work with us as well. You've been to the Royal Institute Chartered Surveyors, RICS headquarters for International Women's Day. What did you do there? How did you find it?
Yeah, of course. I went along with a few other colleagues, a few other senior colleagues. It was all centered around getting women into surveying. As you heard from the statistics, we are a minority. So that day was kind of talking to young girls and young women that were thinking about entering property and talking about my experience and letting them know that it's not a scary thing and it's something that more women should be getting into.
Thank you. And what tips would you have for somebody applying for the VOA for the apprenticeship programme?
I would say all skills are useful in surveying because it's not like a one and done thing, valuation. You use a bunch of skills. So I'd recommend kind of pulling from different types of work experiences and trying to relate that back to property or valuation or kind of thinking dynamically because you have to do that a lot in this job depending on what property it is. So just kind of thinking about how to be dynamic in your application and rolling with the punches always.
Thanks, Bree. And to Jack. Jack, you've also been involved in some of our outreach work in the past, particularly with some of the students. How have you found that?
Yeah, I have undertaken measuring practices coming in when the students come into our office. I found it really insightful when I've showed them how to use our laser measurers and draw a floor plan. So it's been great to show some students what we get up to on a daily basis.
Which area of work are you doing at the moment, Jack, in the agency, and what kind of projects?
So at the moment, I'm on district valuer services, and we undertake mainly valuations for inheritance tax purposes. So I'm carrying out at the moment valuations on houses and also commercial properties, so shops, industrials, and an office actually at the moment too. I've also done a nursery in Southampton, which was quite interesting. So yeah.
Jack, you've worked with people from other government departments before taking them out on inspections as part of the wider stuff we do across GPP. How have you found that?
It's been really good to work with colleagues from across the government. I actually worked with two surveyors on apprenticeship routes from the Ministry of Defence. I took them out to do an inspection on an industrial property because they needed the experience for their APC. So it just shows that no matter where you are in the government property profession, there's always the opportunity to develop your skills through different avenues which you may not have thought about, and we're all working together to achieve the same result, which is the individual's success, which I felt definitely loads of people helping me, and I've helped other people as well. So it's been great.
Thanks, Jack. And how would you describe some of the support you've had within the agency and where you've supported others?
Yeah, so support I've received personally is I think on the video it was mentioned that you get paired up with a experienced surveyor. So when I joined, I got paired up with a senior surveyor for about a year actually, and I learned so much in that year, and I still use everything that I was taught to this day. And in terms of the support I've given to others, when you're new to a team, often the more experienced people within the team will be asked to help the newer people, show them the ropes. So Bree's actually helped me when I moved on to my current team. Bree showed me the ropes, and I'm sort of passing that forward and doing it to the new people in my team. So there's help everywhere, and also if you don't have to find people. A lot of the time your manager will help you, or you'll see them in the office, and then once you've made that first connection, it's really easy to get help.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Jack. And one thing I should say, for those of you wanting to join the VOA, as well as a full range of work opportunities, we're in a lot of government hubs and buildings, so there's a chance for social things. People play sports, tennis, football, there's some dance classes, reading groups, and Jack is very good at chess. I've not managed to beat him yet. Moving on to Ben. Ben, you've just come from the VOA. You work for Located, which is linked with DFE. Can you describe your role there, please?
At Located, I currently work as a planning and apprentice planning development surveyor. I'm in the process of refining my final APC submission to sit in May. Yeah, so I've worked on a number of projects in kind of like constrained rural areas, like school relocation programs, where you've got to be mindful of like social implications of moving a primary school and things like that. But the current project I'm working on heavily at the moment involves a grade 2 listed primary school in Cornwall, actually, which is quite niche, quite obscure, but it's not fit for educational purpose. And my role is kind of like trying to find an alternative location which we could accommodate a new school site and provide up-to-date modern educational facilities. So yeah, so surveying role on behalf of the Department of Education is kind of that's what I do day to day.
And you came over to the valuation office for a secondment to get some experience for some of your competencies. How was that, and what kind of work were you doing?
It's incredibly useful. A lot of the work centered on, as previously mentioned, inheritance tax cases. Valuing properties for inheritance tax purposes. I got to work on quite an interesting an inheritance tax case in Twickenham, to value a property which didn't have much like comparable evidence. It was on like a private road, but you can't even access it on like Google Maps and stuff. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I was also able to obtain some development appraisal experience while I was at the VOA, which was really useful. Yeah, and it's all served me very well in padding out my breadth of experience in my APC summary of experience.
What tips would you give any apprentices applying for a role in the valuation office or across government for one of the property programs?
In terms of like day to day in a work environment, or
like
the
just
application
about
process?
the applications. Yeah. Anything you've gathered?
I think it's beneficial to be not just engaged, but like proactive, and make sure you go out of your way to kind of cooperate with your colleagues, and it's a great way to kind of obtain new work opportunities and such. Making yeah, don't be too passive, and yeah, just make sure you're immersed in what you do.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks to everyone who's joined us to talk about their apprenticeship routes. And I'm going to hand over now to Jess, who's going to tell us a bit more about the application process and some hints and tips. Thanks, Jess.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. Hope you're all well. We have had some really good tips and tricks already from our apprentices and from Tony as well, talking about some of the opportunities. So I'll try not to duplicate too much, but I just want to expand on a couple of points already made. So as I said, my name's Jess. I work in the development team as the recruitment project lead. So the development team, as you've seen our email there, so we support all of the graduates on our graduate programme and apprentices on the level 3 surveying technician and both the level 6 BSc and MSc chartered surveyor apprenticeship. So it's a really busy team. We have a lot going on in terms of recruitment and supporting our apprentices and graduates. On the level 6 apprentices, we don't only support them through their academic studies with UB. I can see Becky's put the link in there, so it's worth having a little look about the apprenticeship provider. But we also support once you get through to the APC stage, which is the assessment of professional competence. It's a bit of a mouthful. So that's become a full chartered surveyor. So we are the central vacancy holder for surveying programmes. So that means it's our job to manage the end-to-end recruitment process. So recruiting new graduates and apprentices and seeing it through from that very first, the advert going live on civil service jobs, which you'll hopefully see, supporting all the way through to the onboarding process until you're actually on the programme, at which point you then sort of passed over to our great consultants and program leads who will look after you. So you've got an abundance of support, as you've already heard. So you've got a development team, you've got the learning team, you've got supervisors, counsellors, line managers, your apprenticeship provider, your team, and buddies as well. I think probably the apprentices would agree that one of the biggest support is peer support. So we have apprentices that will set up their own like WhatsApp groups and things like that, just to provide that holistic support and learn from one another. So the opportunities that we have live at the moment on civil service jobs are the level 6 BSc chartered surveyor apprenticeship and the level 3 surveying technician. And they both close on the 13th of March. You've got plenty of time. These are for candidates who are not already with the VOA or candidates who are with the VOA, but they're not in a role that aligns with the apprenticeship. As I say, it's already been touched on, but just to give a bit of a summary again, the Level 6 Chartered Surveyor Apprenticeship is a 5-year integrated academic and work-based programme. So as I mentioned, the first sort of 3 years, you'll be doing your academic studies with the apprenticeship provider, following through to the APC and sitting that final interview to become Chartered Surveyor. So this is really aimed at people that already hold an associate RICS qualification, or if you've got 96 UCAS points, but I will signpost onto all of that sort of eligibility bit in a moment. The level 3 surveying technician is a roughly 27 to 30 month programme, so leading to associate membership of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. And many of our level 3 apprentices will then go on to progress onto the level 6. So this role is primarily aimed at people who, either currently in school or college or don't have a degree and they're looking to kickstart their career in surveying. So as I said, all the information on eligibility criteria, there are a few different things in our candidate packs. So please do read through that. That is on civil service jobs and I'll pop those links in when I finish speaking. We're also running some additional, we call them sort of insight sessions. So it's to learn more about the apprenticeship itself, and it'll cover even more sort of top tips than what I'm about to speak about. So they're on the 17th and 26th of Feb for the level 3, and we've got one on the 5th of March as well. So 3 of those ones, and 17th of Feb and 5th of March for the BSc, but I'll pop the Eventbrite link in as well. So I'm not sure if there's anybody on this call who already is with the VOA and they're interested in applying for a surveying apprenticeship, but we do have our internal vacancies, which are also live at the minute for the level 6 BSc, MSc and the level 3. And these are all live on the intranet, and which will take you onto our learning and development SharePoint site. And again, we do have some insight sessions for those, so please do check the intranet for information on that. As Tony mentioned, we do have further opportunities which usually go live more September, October time, and that's for our level 6 MSc and our graduate roles. So our MSc is for anybody that already holds a degree in a non-property related subject, and our graduate programme is for anybody who does hold a degree already in valuation and real estate. So if this is you, if you're on the call and you think that sounds more like me, we do encourage you to sign up for civil service jobs, and it'll land directly in your inbox once it's live. So what we're looking for, we're looking for passionate people to become an associate member or a chartered surveyor and contribute to wider public services. We know that you're not going to have the prior surveying knowledge, and that's absolutely fine. But what we are looking for is potential, enthusiasm and self-motivation to learn and develop. That's probably the biggest thing that we're trying to look for in an application. We're also looking for people that are really well organised. So, you know, it's quite demanding balancing work, studies and personal life, and having those strong interpersonal skills, because you will be working with a wide range of stakeholders. So as I say, all of this sort of needs to shine through on your application. We also want to see that you have undertaken research about the VOA, the work that we do. You understand the role of the apprenticeship, and I think most importantly, ensuring that it is the right programme for you, both from, as I mentioned, the eligibility side, but also from sort of a personal perspective. You know, as I said, it can be challenging, but it's very rewarding. So I'd encourage you to speak to, if you're internal, you know, line managers and colleagues, or if you're not, then friends, maybe you know someone who's a chartered surveyor, just doing that research and attending some of our candidate insight sessions as well. We're always here to help the development team. You should have our email now. So if you're not sure or you've got any questions, please do reach out. As part of the personal statement, you are asked usually to answer 2 questions. So please do read both questions really carefully and answer both with sort of equal weighting. Sometimes we find that candidates will just answer one section really well and then not answer as well on the second part, and it's hard to score. And you know, so that's my biggest advice, is make sure you do give both questions a really good shot. AI, hot topic obviously at the minute. You are allowed to use AI as part of your application, but please do be really careful with using it. Just be mindful that it doesn't always sound like us when we get the answer back. So do read over it, tweak it, use it as a framework, and then tweak it and make it sound like you. We want to hear from you, and we still want, you know, your authentic self to come through. And do be mindful as well that obviously other candidates will be putting that question into AI platforms. So again, we don't want to see the same application through. So, you know, keep your true self in there, but do use it as an aid if you want to. You're not, however, allowed to use it at interview stage, just to let you know. For those who are keen to progress further upon completion of level 3, a lot of our apprentices, as I mentioned, will go on to level 6. Upon completion of level 6 and you're fully chartered, a lot of our surveyors then go on to senior roles, lead roles, technical roles, so it doesn't have to stop at the level 6. So behaviours, I'm just going to skim through these really quick, so I'm conscious of time. I know we've got questions. So behaviours are the actions and activities that people do which result in effective performance in a job. We use them as part of the assessment because behaviours can be observed and measured. So it helps predict performance of the role that you're going to be in. So we usually use these at the interview stage, which means that you have time to prepare and think about your answers. We want you to respond by describing a specific situation where you've demonstrated that behaviour. So we're looking for you to structure your answer in a clear, concise way. So I recommend using the STAR techniques, so situation, task, action, result, or something similar, a similar framework. And often candidates can be really tempted to use use we statements rather than I. Again, we want to hear about what you did specifically. So don't be tempted, even if it's, you know, talking about working together, for example. Do still draw out what you did. Examples can be from any setting, so job, school, college, an exam, an assessment, volunteering, hobbies, whatever it may be. So just think about the best example that fits that behaviour. Even if you've prepared an answer beforehand and you bring it to the interview, sometimes it's tempting to just use that answer no matter what, but listen to the question and don't be afraid to tweak it and take a minute to think about it just to make sure that it does fit. I was going to cover strengths briefly, but that's fine. I'll just go on to resources because I'm mindful of time. And as I said, the sessions that we're holding will cover a lot of things anyway. So just lastly then, useful resources, the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, so looking at the blogs, ethics, codes of conduct, hot topics, market updates, all of this research looks really good in an application. Again, we're not expecting you to know everything about what's on there, but just maybe some, demonstration that you have done your research. Civil service success profile, so looking at the behaviours that are on the advert. One of my biggest tips, I would say, from what I do when I write an application is really look at the buzzwords within those behaviour descriptions, pull them out and tick them off as you're writing your application. As Becky's already shown you, government property profession and the VOA websites, VOA LinkedIn, and understanding our work, etc., as I've already mentioned. And if you're internal, don't assume that we already know what you do just because you're internal. Still give, full answers and full examples. And lastly, as I mentioned, civil service jobs is where you need to be looking for these roles. I'll leave it there. Thank you. And I'll pass back over to Becky, Gareth. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jess. Well, for those of you who've got any questions, we're going to take time for any questions that you have at the minute. But thank you very much for attending today. Becky's kindly done the recording for us. So for those of you who are watching on demand, there's useful links here in the chat. Becky's team email is gpp@cabinetoffice.gov.uk. Slides will be made available to those who've attended today as well. But we'll stop the recording here. So for those who have been watching on demand, thank you very much indeed for your interest.
Sorry, can I just jump in? I can't pop the links in because I'm not the owner of the event. Becky, would you mind popping the links in for civil service jobs? Is that all right? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, yes, I'll do that in a sec. I'm just going to stop the
No worries,
stop the
thank you.
recording. Bear with me 1 second. Sorry, it's making me do this, the transcript and the recording separately.